Hi, I'm Aaron Kreiderman, creator and solo developer of Solara One. I've always been fascinated with astronomy and the scale of the universe. By space, light, and immersion, virtual reality became the perfect way to bring that feeling to life for me. I'm a guy who loves living life to its fullest and embracing the awe and wonder of the universe. It's such a giant place out there. When I played my first VR experience on MetaQuest, it was about 5 years ago, and I was really impressed with it. I mean, the resolution was a bit limiting, but overall, it really just kind of gave you this sense of being in another place. And I realized VR would allow me to merge my technical skills, my programming, with my creative skills and my artistic skills. So I started Solara One to capture that feeling of awe, floating in orbit, the calm, the beauty, the scale of the universe. I've been developing Solara One solo for over 3 years, over 7,000 hours of work so far. Every element, the lighting, the sound, physics, the atmosphere, a lot of effort goes into really trying to make everything feel as real and as immersive as possible. It's been a true labor of love for me, blending all the technical aspects with the artistry. On the personal side about myself, I like to push the limits in life. I do Ironman triathlons. I do this thing called powered paragliding, where you strap an engine on your back with a propeller and you actually fly kind of like a superhero. You use a wing, it's kind of like a skydiver's wing, only bigger. It's about 30 feet wide, and you set it all up in a field and you start this engine up and you run and you take off and you can fly anywhere you want to go. I think the view from paragliding kind of helped to inspire me a bit to create the spacewalks in Solara One, that feeling of freedom that comes with being able to fly anywhere you want to go, being in control of that flight. Really cool stuff. And I believe we all have unlimited potential. That's what fuels me every day to really challenge myself, like taking on this challenge of making a virtual reality experience single-handed by myself. It's a huge challenge, but it's fun to do that. I'm happiest when I'm building or creating something, especially something that can help move other people emotionally and to connect. So that's where Solara One kind of comes in, like it brings everything together. It's where engineering precision meets artistic vision. I really designed it to be immersive, cinematic, peaceful, a place where people can go just to breathe in VR. It's built to make players feel this awe. It's not just a game to play, it's an experience. It represents a technical challenge, a personal dream for me. It's kind of a reflection of life itself. Curiosity, beauty, and exploration. And it's not just about exploring the universe, it's also about exploring ourselves.
Welcome aboard Solara One. We are in a stable orbit 650 kilometers above the surface of planet Earth. Our current velocity is 27,576 kilometers per hour. Below you can see Central America, and in the next few minutes, we will be approaching the Gulf of Mexico and Florida.
So the Cosmic Retreat update that just came out, why did I make it? Well, it was to mainly address user feedback. The top user request was people wanted to explore more of the space station. So that's what I deliver. I added a functional elevator. I added dynamic gravity to the whole space station. So that wall slider in the lounge, previously it didn't actually affect the gravity. It would affect visually, you're rotating faster, but it wasn't really adding in the real physics that would be happening where objects would be pinned to the floor due to the rotation. Now, when you slide it up and it's rotating faster, if you pick up an object and toss it in the air, instead of just floating in space, you're going to see it comes back down more due to this artificial gravity effect. And that's the whole reason space stations are designed like this in sci-fi movies, to have rings, because that's the simplest way to create artificial gravity just with basic physics, right? So yeah, and I added that elevator and it takes you down to your new stateroom. I really wanted to create a place where people could just feel at home and at ease. It's kind of like you're on a cruise ship with that quality and that style, but you're in outer space. So it's like Instead of having a balcony looking at the ocean, you've got a beautiful window where you can look out into the cosmos. And the centerpiece of it all is this musical keyboard that you can play. A lot of time and effort was put into that, trying to create a really beautiful instrument, some nice reverb, some nice relaxing sounds that kind of complement the overall feeling of relaxation that this experience is trying to bring to people. So that's the Cosmic Retreat update. That's why I made that. But in terms of Solara One overall, like, why did I make Solara One? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, part of it was I see a lot of shooting games and zombie games, and they're fun. Don't get me wrong. Everybody needs to shoot a good zombie now and then. But I saw a gap. There's some meditation apps out there too, but not something that was really visually immersive. And it kind of also wanted to combine that immersion and that relaxation, but with outer space. Like, there's been meditation apps before. There's been outer space games before, but no one's ever brought them together at the same time. And that's what I thought I would do, is just to make a different experience. So that was the one reason. And another big reason in creating Solara One is that, to me, meditation has always felt like work. I suffer from my share of anxiety. I've done meditation classes in the past, and you've got to sign up for them. You've got to drive to them. You're kind of committed once you get there. And it's like, well, what if I could make meditation and relaxation actually fun, so it didn't feel like effort, and to have the flexibility to do it anytime in your own home? So that was a big reason for making Solara One. I think another reason for me personally is I've always wanted to go to outer space. I think flying a rocket up and going in orbit and going on spacewalks would have to be one of the coolest things you could ever do. Well, right now, it's limited to the true astronauts who dedicate their entire lives to it, or to the super rich who can afford these really expensive private space flights. So this was just kind of like the next step for me, is like, hey, let's start our own virtual reality studio and go for it just by myself. So that was another reason. Just, I love personal challenges, and it was really fun trying to push the limits of what the Quest hardware is actually capable of. Like, let's push it as far as we can and see just how much realism and immersion we can squeeze out of it. So for Solara One, I was really starting from scratch. I mean, I didn't have a background in VR programming or anything like that. I had done other programming languages, but I was pretty much starting from scratch. So my research started, and I looked at all the different VR gaming platforms that were out there, because I didn't even know which VR platform I was going to build it on. And you've got to think too that you're going to spend years developing this, so you have to try to anticipate where the market's going to be a few years in the future. And when I looked at the different systems out there, the MetaQuest really stood out as being the leader. And I thought, I think that one too is a lot easier actually as an independent developer to get published on compared with some of the other platforms. I mean, I didn't even own a gaming PC prior to embarking on this whole development adventure. So I had to go out and buy a gaming PC so that I could actually power the Unity software and things like that. So yeah, so basically I'm self-taught. I taught myself everything that I needed to know to do the VR development. And sometimes people have an exact vision. A lot of companies actually have a very precise vision of exactly what the game is going to be. And in my case, for the Solara One experience, it actually was more of a progression, because I was kind of learning as I went along. And I realized too that as a solo developer, one of the biggest design constraints was my own time. So a lot of it would be figuring out, what can I implement as a one-man team rather than having this perfect final vision. So a lot of it was a trial and error process where I would start going down one path, and then it would be taking way too much of my time. So I'm like, okay, hold on, back up. Let's put the game in a slightly different direction so that we can produce this in a reasonable amount of time.
Transport completed. Enjoy your stay. Welcome to the Sirius Nebula, a vast cloud of hydrogen, helium, and oxygen gas. Due to its gigantic size, light from the distant clouds has taken over a year to get here. Thus, as you gaze around, you are actually peering into the past. The gas clouds themselves are over 10 million years old. This makes the Sirius Nebula a perfect place to contemplate your past and future, but most importantly to be in the present moment, as you take in this breathtaking wonder of the cosmos.
So yeah, just tons of learning. Everything from how to make hands work in VR. I mean, just hands are incredibly complicated to get those working, and there's so many 3D modeling, lighting, virtual reality controller input, haptics, spawning coroutines to run in the background. So many considerations, and even performance limitations. The Quest hardware is fairly limiting in terms of how many computations it can do. So that was another big consideration. So for me, the design focus had a couple main pieces. The biggest one was just bang for your buck. Like, as a solo developer, I really had to optimize my time. When I can, I would leverage existing assets from the Unity store. That way I don't have to build everything from scratch from first principles. Try not to go down rabbit holes. Also, for the design focus, immersion was one of the biggest factors. Like, everything ties back to immersion. I want people playing this experience to be super immersed in it, right? So it's subtle, but there's a lot of considerations that people don't realize. A really big one is actually sound design. People think it's all visual, and there's a lot of visual, but to really trick your brain into believing you're someplace else, the audio has to match up. And I see a lot of games where they don't really take into account the audio acoustics of the room or of the space that you're in. And you want that sound reverb to match up so that the sound echoes back, and that's what starts to really trick your brain into thinking you're really there. 3D sound is another big factor. You want sounds, if you close your eyes and there's a sound, you should be able to tell where it's coming from even with your eyes closed. So 3D sound, very important. And another big factor in immersion for my design is the depth of the scenes. I want people to really experience that range of depths, everything from up close to far away. So like in the jungle scene, you can see all the way out to the horizon, so you get that expansive sense of depth. In the spaceport, up in the clouds, you've got clouds all around you, and if you lean over the edge and look down, you have these massive drop-offs. So that sense of depth really adds to the immersion. And same thing in outer space, right? You've got the windows in the lounge where you can look out to infinity, way, way far out. And that immersion really starts to work. Another really big design focus for Solara One was mesmerizing visuals. Everything for me comes back to one simple example, and that's when you're sitting around a campfire. And when I'm sitting around a campfire, I always have found my eyes are drawn into it, and it's mesmerizing. It's moving, it's calm, and it draws you in. And it draws you in almost into a meditative state, but without having to work at it. So what I try to do with every scene in the experience is to create that same kind of mesmerizing, tranquil movement that will draw you in, both from a sound perspective and from a visual perspective. And then lighting. Lighting is another really important design focus, is to try to create the most realistic lighting that I could. So it's a combination of baked lighting and real-time lighting. On the Quest, real-time lighting is computationally very expensive. You're usually limited to just one real-time light. So when you're in the lounge, that one real-time light is the sun casting the shadows. When you're in the stateroom, the shadows don't come in because you're on the other side. And so in the stateroom, we've got a little bit of extra computation power. So when you're standing at the music keyboard, you'll see the music keyboard actually has a green glow. And if you look at your hands, you'll see the real-time lighting around your hands. And in the rest of the game objects everywhere, the lighting is baked in ahead of time. So the lighting is pre-calculated to get those realistic shadows and realistic lighting. Well, big picture challenges for Solara One. The biggest challenge, honestly, is just being a solo developer. I mean, you've got a lot of different hats you have to wear, everything from game design to development to QA testing to marketing and even legal. I mean, things like trademarks, privacy agreements. So yeah, being solo is definitely the biggest challenge. Another challenge is just bugs. I pride myself on having as few bugs or no bugs as possible, and there's hundreds of bugs all the time that I was working through to fix. I go in and I intentionally try to break the game and do stupid things, and things like remote grabbing an object and it would fly through a wall into your hand. One of the funniest bugs was the elevator, because it was in a rotating reference frame, sometimes would spit you at the side of the elevator. So you're riding this relaxed elevator and suddenly you're falling through outer space towards Earth. It's a little bit not the effect I was going for. So yeah, bugs were definitely a big challenge. The new music keyboard took me, I'd say, over 2 weeks of development. Everything from trying to get the keys lighting up, like to start with, basically, when I created this music keyboard, I started with a single key. So I go and I create a single key and I make it interactive so that you can hit it with the mallet and it lights up. But you got to consider the fact you're going to have over 50 of these keys. And because the light brightens up and fades away, you got to think about draw calls. So I had to use like material block properties to override the basic material settings, so that way the keyboard is actually only a single draw call instead of 50 to 60 draw calls. So just lighting up the keys, that was a couple days of work just to get the keys lighting up in a way that was good for performance. And also had to think about getting a flexible system where I don't want to use a lot of RAM. So when I'm porting in these sound samples, I created a system where as a minimum, I have to port in a single sound sample per instrument. So say middle C, you port in a single sound, but I also made the system so that I can import more sound samples if I want, and then I use a pitch shifting algorithm to shift it in between to fill in the gaps. So depending on the instrument, I might have more or less of these samples. Also, you can only play so many sounds at a time. If someone's waving their hands like crazy over this keyboard back and forth, hitting hundreds of notes, like that could blow out your CPU and cause dropped frames again, right? So I created an audio manager that has a pool of at most 16 sounds that can be played. So every time you hit a note, it sends that information to the audio manager and says, hey, I'd like to play this note. Here's the note I'd like to play. Here's how loud I'd like you to play it. And then the audio manager looks for a free channel and plays the sound. And then a second signal will get hit when you lift your mallet off the keyboard, and it will send another call to the audio manager saying, hey, time to stop playing this particular instrument. So yeah, really complicated stuff on the back end. And then little nuanced details, like when you step up to the music keyboard, you might not notice, but very slowly the background bass rumble of the space station fades away so that you have a nice quiet place where you can really enjoy the sound of that keyboard. Solara One is an experience, not a game. So this isn't a place you're going to come to try to get a high score or to shoot things. This is a place you're coming to take in a relaxing view and experience the expanse of the cosmos. I also want people to know about the importance of breathing. I recently read an entire book just about breathing, and it's one of the simplest things you can do to lower your blood pressure. And there's so many health benefits to slow, relaxed breathing, activating your parasympathetic nervous system. There's science behind this. It's not some voodoo thing. Slow, relaxed breathing actually can change your state of mind and can have a physiological effect. It can lower your pulse, can help lower blood pressure. So I just want to remind people of that. That's important. This is another interesting thing that I want people to know. It's okay to close your eyes in VR. No one I've talked to has ever done this on purpose. Like, close your eyes, listen, breathe, hear the sounds that are around you. Sound design was a central piece in the immersion of Solara One. So I invite people to, it's okay to close your eyes and just listen and take it all in. It's not just a visual experience. Also, I want people to know that this is about self-paced exploration. So there's no objectives, there's no deadlines, there's no series of things you have to accomplish. This is just about being present in the moment and exploring at your own pace. Pick a planet you want to go to, go there. You want to go on a spacewalk, go on a spacewalk and float around. You want to go to the Arboretum, or you want to go to your stateroom and have a nap, go for it. So really it's about exploring outer space and also exploring your inner self. And there's an effect called the overview effect that a lot of astronauts say that they feel for the first time when they're on a spacewalk and they're up there and they see the scale and the size of planet Earth, and it kind of gives you that perspective of just how small we really are on the scale of things. And some people have even reported feeling that effect playing the Solara One experience. So yeah, I invite people to contemplate your place in the universe. Connect with the universe. Connect with yourself. Connect with how you feel. Connect with your breathing. Relax. And it's okay to be alone. This is a chance to get away from distractions and the stress of your phone, of the news, of your job. This is a place people can really go to get away from those things.
Meditation crystal activated. Welcome to this mindfulness meditation practice. Find a comfortable position in your space, allowing yourself to settle in and prepare for a journey into the present moment. Begin by gently closing your eyes if it feels comfortable for you. Take a moment to notice the sensation of your breath as it flows in and out of your body. Feel the rise and fall of your chest or the gentle expansion and contraction of your abdomen with each inhale and exhale. As you continue to breathe naturally, allow your awareness to rest on the sensation of the breath. Notice the coolness of the air as you inhale, filling your lungs with life-giving oxygen.
So some closing thoughts. I think what makes Solara One really resonate is that it's not trying to be loud. It's about presence, immersive detail, and that emotional connection to space. It's been an amazing journey building it alone and seeing how players respond, especially when influencers or the community pick it up. The support from the VR community has been amazing, and the journey has been incredibly rewarding.
Thanks for giving us your time today, and please consider becoming a member at UploadVR.com to support our work directly.